Because when she donated, he will find it Yawm al-Qiyamah. Abu Hurairah one day was hungry, extremely hungry. And likewise with the Prophet, peace be upon him. We're talking about the head of the state here, brothers and sisters. He could have ordered for food, and food would be provided. He could order to be the richest man. In fact, when he was in Mecca, the people of Mecca, Quraysh, came to his uncle Abu Talib and they said, tell your nephew to stop calling to what he's calling to, and we will give him what he wants. If he wants to be the richest man among us, we will have him to be the richest man among us. If he wants to be the king and the leader and the head of the state and the one that gives the commands, we will give him that leadership. If he wants to marry the most beautiful among us, we will have him marry the most beautiful woman among us. They were willing to give him what he wishes. And his response was, uncle, if they were to put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left hand, in return I leave what I call to, I would die before I do so until my call is answered and heard. My religion is heard, or I die. He could have prayed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, glory to Him, could have made the mountains into gold and silver for him. But he said, I wish to live as a miskin and be resurrected Yawm al-Qiyamah on the day of judgment with those poor individuals. So that day, they were hungry. And there was a group of companions there, and someone donated a bowl of milk. A bowl of milk. Abu Hurairah said to himself, I hope the Prophet does not ask me to serve the people because I am so hungry and I fear no milk will be left when it's my turn. Because in Islam, when you serve people, you're the last one to drink. But Abu Hurairah said while he was saying this to himself, the Rasul ﷺ said to Abu Hurairah, Ya Abu Hurairah, serve the people. So he starts serving and people start drinking. Drinking. One after another. And the bowl is still full. The blessings of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then after they all finished, Abu Hurairah was looking into the bowl and the milk is still there. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though he was hungry, he said, drink, ya Abu Hurairah. So Abu Hurairah drank. And then he was full. He reached the bowl to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, drink again. And he did it for the third time until he said, O Prophet of Allah, there is no more room in my stomach for any more. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam then drank. Just because he was the head of the state. And he's the messenger, that doesn't mean he start first. Tell me today, any CEO or administrator or leader in the world that allows his people to eat, and he does not eat until they eat. He's not full until they're full. On the contrary, my brothers and sisters, the people suffer while the leaders don't. The Rasul ﷺ, during the battle of Al-Ahzab, he was working with everyone else, digging and carrying rocks. And people were chanting and singing, نحن الذين بايعوا محمدا على الجهاد ما بقينا أبدا. Hey, we are the ones that gave the pledge to the Prophet Muhammad that we will struggle with him as long as we live. And they were carrying those rocks from the ditch, the trench that they were making, trying to protect the city of Medina from an attack that's imminent, that's coming. And they were hungry. They were all hungry. They were working long hours. And the Prophet with them. Then Abu Ayyub came. After he had went to his house and said that the Prophet is hungry. Do you have any food for the Prophet? She said, I only have a small quantity of food. So go to the Prophet and whisper into his ear and tell him to come. And if he wishes, he can bring 1 or 2 people with him. Abu Ayyub comes to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whispers what his wife had said, and all of a sudden the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam turns to everyone that is working in the trench. Over 1,000 people. And he said, Abu Ayyub and his wife are inviting you to a feast. A feast? What feast? It's just a little quantity of food, but the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was about to bless that food. And he said to Abu Ayyub, go back home and tell your wife not to lift the lid until I come. And not to turn the fire down. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam comes, says a prayer, and blesses the food, and everyone eats. Everyone. He lived a simple life, a life like everyone else. He did not want to see himself different from his followers, and neither did his followers ever see him different. As I said at the beginning, when he passed away, he didn't leave nothing behind him for his family to inherit. His own shield was in the hands of another because he had not paid back a debt. And his family has to pay it on behalf of him. He was born an orphan and died a poor man, but lived rich with people. As I come to a conclusion, he is still rich with us. His name is the most uttered and used name in the world because he was real. He was true. He was Muhammad. I thank you for being with us. I'm your host, Abdulhakim Ali, and I hope to see you in the upcoming episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.